Hey friends, I'm out in the garden. It is beautiful outside today and we are gonna do a full garden tour. It's been a little bit, it's been 2 weeks I think since my last garden tour, and you can see the August garden has just exploded. It's beautiful. There's so many different things, and I'm starting to transition things from summer crops over to fall crops, so you'll see a little bit of that here. I'm going to do a big circle around the house. We'll start in the backyard and go all the way around. You can see what's going on here in my Michigan 6A garden. I have finally gotten to the point where I've cleaned up the deck and gotten some planters planted. Not too many. I have a lot of empty planters this year, and I'm just rolling with that. That's going to be just fine. But I have some herbs over here. I've got some thyme and some basil in these pots here. Here is that little tomato. This is called a Tom Thumb tomato. And it's a very small little plant. This is as big as the plant gets. And it makes these tomatoes that are a little bit bigger than a cherry tomato. They're like a large cherry tomato. And some basil. My alpine strawberries are still producing. These are just for the kids' snacks and for the rabbit snacks. And I keep picking flowers. We'll get to these. I had to pick a bunch of sunflowers and coneflower because they were taking over the sidewalk. So I decided I would enjoy them for a little bit. Over on the other side, I actually got rid of all the ones that were over here. Look at this sunflower. Technically, the sunflower is not in the backyard, but I have been obsessed with her. Isn't she pretty? Her coloring is just gorgeous. All right. Let's stop now. Let's go ahead and check out the actual backyard where we're supposed to be. So this bed right here in the front, let's do the front first. In the front, I have got bachelor buttons, and they are all starting to come. My bachelor buttons don't stand up well. If anybody's got any advice, they're all kind of falling over here. That happens a lot for me. I don't know why. I have nasturtium peeking out here, growing along all the bottom edges, which I just love this. Nasturtium's a great trap crop. It keeps the pests are attracted to it rather than crops that I want. These are actually edible flowers too. Love them. These are all the banana peppers. I did go through and pick all of the big ones on here, but I already have got more started. These are fantastic sized plants. I'm really, really happy with these. Right in the middle, these are my onions, my green onions, not real onions, green onions. These are actually seed heads. I think I showed in another video how I save the seeds for these, but pretty much all these little heads, all the little black things in there turn into seeds. And you just shake them loose, and I can drop them down here into the ground and let them reseed in the same patch, which I do. And you can also save them in little seed bags and plant them somewhere else, which I also do. Down here, this is a self-sown, this is called Gaillardia or blanket flower. It is on this kind of greenery here. I got a little patch here that's coming up. I had a bigger patch last year. It didn't really take off this year like I wanted it to, but what are you gonna do? Over here, I do have a couple of the Notapeno plants that now that I've pulled lettuce out of here are starting to take off. There's a little baby Notapeno. This plant actually is doing a little bit better. Back in here. And then I have my giant patch zinnias here. Yeah, they look fantastic. Those are mostly Benary Giants. I love them in the orange and the lilac. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Behind them, you can see that vine going up there. I'm not going to get back there because inside of this little birdhouse is a wasp nest trying to take root. So I keep taking care of them, but I don't want to get stung. So there are center cut squash back in there. And let's go on to the top. Here's all my beautiful volunteer sunflowers. I've got some right here. You can see they're falling over. I'm gonna have to come in and cut them out and add them to my pile of pretty vase flowers. But behind them are all the tomatoes. I'll let you get close. Whoa! Sorry, I just got dive bombed by a giant non-stinging bug, but still scared me. All right, these guys look great. That's huge. You can see back in here. Lots of green ones, some red ones. They are starting to fall over. I got you guys a little too close here. I gotta back you up. You can see where I have taken them and tied them up and pruned them, and on top they're getting really bushy. I have been pruning them and they're flopping over the other side. So I've probably picked about, I don't know, maybe 30 tomatoes out of here so far. I've got some zinnias here on this side too. They're so pretty. And then I have got dill in here, and this is actually a dill head. I don't know if you can see this. All the seeds are ready. Those are all dill seeds. So I could shake those loose here and have dill again, which I might do, but I'm gonna wait and see. The only other thing I got back in here, I have got beans. You can see them come out the side over here. And those are all mixed in with those, and I'm letting them dry out. Isn't that pretty? Pretty jungle. Back here in this corner, I have been working on that. Thus how I know that there's hornets in there. Mama got stung, it happens. But the two planters, the tall ones, are not planted yet, other than the beans on the top of the one. In down here, I have got some herbs, some mint, some hyssop. I planted that strawberry gomphrena right in here. Let me zoom in. Those are cute. And then I just last night took these Marguerite chamomile and filled them in the blocks. They used to be in there. But I wanted to create more of a border here where I've got all these scabiosas coming up. And this is my first year doing scabiosa. They are so pretty. I especially love this wine color. It's so pretty. But those are perennial. They'll come back every year. And I didn't want them to get accidentally weed whipped when my husband did the lawn. So these block are a temporary solution. And I actually don't mind the way that it looks, kind of creating a barrier here and then into the back chicken area. But I might just get some more decorative blocks and fill those in. We'll see. I've got some anise hyssop and some calendula back in here. Got some snapdragons. Pretty much just a bunch of volunteer stuff. And this crazy dang bug. Do you see him down here? Right there. You see this guy? He dive bombs me all day long. Stepping into chicken land back here. Hey girls, how's it going? Hi. The two ladies are still in confinement, but they are totally happy. I am thinking about letting them loose in another couple of days and seeing how we do again. It's just gotta be a day where I can be in the backyard all day, and that hasn't happened quite yet. Here's the volunteer tomatoes. They look just fine. Chicken kale back here. And then this has really exploded back here. This is a butter, nope, it is a squash. Let me find one. I just saw one the other day. Oh, back here. There it is. That's a center cut squash. These ones right here that are coming up down the middle, these are all sugar pie pumpkins. And I thought I had one started somewhere. But now that I'm looking for it, I'm not going to find it without pissing off a whole bunch of pollinators, which I'd rather not do. So just take my word, there is a sugar pie pumpkin in there. There are also some beans. These are a runner bean called Sunset Runner Bean. I'm letting those dry. And then this whole thing right here is all also the center cut squash. And there are quite a few of them on here. It's also all the way down here. They're redoing a street near my house, which I'm very excited that it'll be, you know, a nice street, but it is slightly annoying. Got some coneflowers in here. Look, there's a little anise hyssop hiding in here. What I really love is these. This is a climbing nasturtium. There's more of them in here. You see them all? They climb right along with this and they make this beautiful curtain. I love it. Also, squash blossoms are so pretty. I love them. I love them. Look, here's a squash blossom. Closed up and it made a little baby center cut squash. Oh, it's lovely. Here's another open one. Oh, I don't Oh, volunteer sunflower. She pretty. All right, let's go this way. This bed here is looking a little bit empty because I just reset it. So on the back, I do have all my tomatoes, which I have quite a few going. I've pulled quite a few here. I'm kind of freezing those right now and waiting until I get a big group of them. Look at these ones with the purple. Oh, they're so pretty. I've got a big thing of parsley there. I cut back my Dara, and I've got this bellflower right here. But then everything in here, I've been watering very heavily, and I planted a second round of beans because I have lettuce elsewhere. So if I'm looking for a fall crop, beans don't necessarily come to mind because they need the heat. However, I have enough time to get another round of bush beans in here, and I picked this one right here, Jacob's cattle bean. I'm looking for a bean that I can let dry. So I'm just going to leave these in here till the plants are totally dead and pull them out. It's a good use of space. These tomatoes are already high enough that they don't need this lower space down here. And beans put good things back into your soil. So it will help the soil. It will give me some chili beans for winter. And it will not interfere with my tomato production. Win, win, win. This crazy corner right here was such an afterthought as I built the backyard this year. And it's one of my favorite places. This anise hyssop is probably 4 feet wide. It's just monstrous. It's as tall as I am. Look at all the bees. Can you see that guy? Hey, buddy. It's covered in bees constantly. And it's surrounded by these cosmos. These are the rubinatas. They're the ones that start out nice and dark and they fade. Ava's calling me. There's an emergency. Probably not. All right, the emergency has been averted. Here are all these really pretty double cosmos. I love them. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they're so pretty. And the bees actually really like them. And then down here, these are the Minnesota midget melons. That's a baby. You can see another one in there. And here is what a bigger one looks like. I'm so excited. Those are taken off. They're going up here and around. So that is a beautiful afterthought. So glad I thought of it. Right next to them, I've got a little bit more basil, and I have got just a little bit of stuff potted up here. That's a horseradish plant that might make it, but probably not. Here is the corner that I reset in the last video I think that I did, where we came in and I harvested all the celery. You're gonna see that that celery starts to just grow back. New little stalks. I will have more celery soon. Strawberry plants are all in here still have not had anything with the runners. And then this is where I put my fall spinach and lettuce. And I do have some coming up. You can see here and here. I'm a little worried about this because it rains so hard. The thing about rain, which is fantastic for your garden, is that a hard rain can disrupt little seeds. So behind me, where I had all those lettuce, those are just itty bitty little seeds, and I just laid them in little rows and pretty much just patted them into the surface and then sprinkled them. And then 12 hours later, we had a downpour for like 8 hours. Great for the soil, great for all the established plants. However, little seeds might get washed out. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that bed. And if I have spots, I'm gonna come through and add more seed to just kind of fill it out a little bit more, just in case they all got washed under the deck or who knows where. These are all alpine strawberries here in the front and a parsley plant, which I harvested from. And these calendula are the ones I cut back. And you can see I'm already starting to get new blooms. Calendula are super hardy for me. I can pretty much do anything to them when they come back. This corner over here was supposed to be so many things. Instead, it has become dominated by this giant sunflower. And I can't even be mad. Like, look at it. It's so pretty. That's how many, I can't even tell you how many flowers are on this one thing. Hang on, I'm gonna stop and count. Okay, so see that stalk? That stalk has made one sunflower. I count 14 open heads right now on it. This is all coming off one plant. Down here, one back there, all of them up there. Can you see all the bees going around there? Let me see if I can get you closer. There's just bees everywhere. 14 open heads. And then it has all these guys. I counted over 30. At 30, I stopped counting. All on this one volunteer sunflower that a squirrel probably planted for me. Squirrel, you're a lovely person. I love you. I have got zinnias in here. Whether or not I get zinnia flowers, I don't know. The shade of this. This really pretty Cosmo is in here on the edge. There are some Kajari melons in there that are doing pretty much nothing, and I don't expect will. The only other thing back here around all, like this is so huge. Back here on this edge, I do have the Dr. Wyche's tomato plant. And I've got lots of really large ones on there, but they're not changing color yet. So I imagine they will as I start cutting this back as it starts to flower and die. But you're worth it. You're worth the entire loss of this bed because you're just so dang pretty. All right, here's my mess in progress. I've got 2 hanging baskets that have volunteer sunflowers in them, of all things. And I'm going to replace these hanging baskets here. Those are going to get thrown in the garbage. They're breaking apart. I've got poppies here making seeds. These turn into seed heads. That one's going to bloom. And then these beds have got the tomatoes in them. They're still making tomatoes, but they look terrible. And then I've got these kohlrabi that have really not sized up. Now this tomato plant does look a lot better. But what I'm going to do is come in here and pull those kohlrabi out. I'll probably let those tomato plants each go one up each pole. And I'm going to plant fall peas here any day now. Any day now. Over here, I have got those fall bush beans. And they are starting to bloom. That really pretty pink bloom on there. Those are Tanya's pink potted bush beans. So I should get some of those. Oh my gosh, look at all these chicks and hens. So pretty. And then same thing in this bed right here. I've got a couple tomato plants. And I've got these, now these kohlrabi have sized up a little bit more. But they look a little buggy. So they'll probably be chicken food. Those are going to come out. Fall peas in here as well. And then this spot is always really pretty. It's always just flowers. This is a cactus zinnia. She's lovely. My dianthus are blooming. These are more zinnias. There's some really pretty asters back here. Some strawberries. And then these gorgeous, gorgeous sunflowers. Aren't they pretty? Oh, the one up there is this beautiful, beautiful red. They're lovely. And then there's one more over here that's just little. This guy right here is called a white knight. Aww. As long as you don't hit me. I've got skateboarding girls here. My front things are doing just fine. I got no blooms on my hydrangeas, but very, very strong plants. I'm gonna have to investigate that a little bit more. I don't know much about growing those. Also, I think because of how much nutrients this has taken, these begonias aren't getting very big this year either, which is no stranger. I typically kill everything in my pots. Ooh, oh.
Watch out!
I know. She's got no manners, but she's got beautiful skateboard skills. All right. Look at these coneflowers right here. These coneflowers are all volunteer. I didn't plant any of them. Thanks again, squirrels. This is a project for next year or this fall. I'm going to pull this all the way from the base of the tree. Make the tree a little bit healthier and give me a little bit more room to grow more stuff, right? All right. As every other garden tour, all of my things on my porch are dead because they are. This is an entire group of nothingness that I should probably pull out, except for this beautiful clematis, which is pretty much done for the year. You can see all the buds are spent up there. But I leave it, I don't push this one back. Clematis come in different groups. Some of them you can cut back and prune. I don't know which group mine's in because I bought it before I knew to look for that. I don't know its variety, but it seems to do well not being cut back, so I'm just going to keep rolling with it. Right up next to the clematis, my husband's new toy, a television on our front porch, so he can watch baseball while sitting on the porch at the end of the night. Oh, that's all right. That's his thing, right? Over this way, I just got some kale. This is a giant mess. I planted zinnia seeds in here. You see any zinnia? Nope, it's a bunch of grass weeds. I'm gonna have to come pull all that, and I'm not exactly sure what the solution is with that. Last year this grew a ton of zinnias beautifully, and this year it said, no, we're not doing it. Not really sure. The honeysuckle is starting to bloom again, and there are no signs of aphids, which is beautiful. I'm very happy about that. Just little bee pollinators. And then this view right here. Hey, squirrel. It's so awesome. So back in this corner, I planted things a little bit off. This is a Cosmo. It's huge and monstrous and very, very tall. And for some reason, I thought it was a short version. It's right in the front of my bed. Behind it, I got a whole bunch of little stuff. Which, hey, back in the back where my cucumbers and beans failed, I have one bean. You can see it's a runner bee of some kind. It's got beans on it. I'm just letting those dry out because I'm not going to have enough to make a meal out of them, obviously. So I'll just use them for seed next year. Down by the bird bath, I've got a lot of different plants. They're lilies, and they're kind of getting overshadowed by this bush. Some calendula, some yarrow back there. And then the crazy volunteer coneflower plant. There was not one coneflower in this spot last year. Not one. That's how crazy it is. Buried underneath it are some sedums that I'm going to have to move in the fall. These are coreopsis. And then right next to them are, hey, little bee. These are calendula, a different variety, I don't remember. That's alyssum down there. Isn't she pretty? And some snapdragons. I really did a lot of flowers this year, and I wasn't sure how I'd feel about that, but looking at this now, I'm excited. So this is the area of the garden that I have not come in and cleaned up this week, so just bear with me in my gigantic mess. How many videos now have I said I'm going to come cut these irises out? Yep, didn't happen yet. The phlox are huge and glorious. The rose bush needs a giant pruning. Tucked in here, I have got this really pretty nasturtium. Got some more black-eyed Susans, some daisies, this Cosmo, another Cosmo friend, some kale, some thyme. Really, really pretty. Underneath is mostly sedums and geranium. This is the lupin, and you can see it has started to make seeds. These are seed pods. So I'm going to save those. I've got a snapdragon here that is going to flower soon. I planted that one from seed, so it's a little behind the other ones. I came in and cut all this back yesterday. That's the feverfew. There was some sunflowers there, and that is actually flowering oregano coming from all the way over here. So gorgeous. So gorgeous. More really pretty snapdragons and some alyssum. These are all self-sown. And then back here in this box, look at these dahlias. They don't even look real. They look fake. Like I put fake flowers out here. They're just so pretty. So pretty. This box did not do what I thought it would do this year, but those are redeeming it. I like it. This corner back here starts my favorite area of the garden. This coneflower is so brilliantly pinky purple. And there's so many everywhere. Above it, I've got some of that Dara. There's phlox behind it. I have the Tithonia back up there behind it. And behind that is a bean vine. It's a scarlet runner bean. And it's just all making its way up. It's just color upon color upon color. I've got snapdragons down in here peeking out. These orange wonder snapdragons are some of my favorites. I got cute puppies peeking out. Hi, honey. And then this walkway is just like a dream, like coneflowers. And honestly, I'm not going to walk straight through it because I will disturb way too many pollinators. This is just a buzz. There's so many pollinators here. But we'll start and look right here. Underneath all this coneflower action, look at, these are ground cherries. It's a ground cherry plant that reseeded itself. Look at them all. They're all green. They'll turn yellow when they're ready. And then tucked in over here, Brussels sprouts. They are making Brussels sprouts. Do you see them in the corners there? I probably got 4 plants tucked in here. All these sunflowers. Ah. All right, I lied. We will walk through here. More coneflowers. I'm just gonna be careful. Oh, they're so pretty. Look up there. Those are my tomato plants coming over. They will come over here and fall on this side. I will pick tomatoes from this side of the fence. More. And just look at the spot. These grew from this way, and they were touching on top, and they made a little archway. However, you couldn't walk through it, so I did have to come in and pull them back. I've got them tied to this ladder and tied back to the fence now. But holy cow, are they pretty. And all these ones, volunteers. I didn't plant any of these. Aren't they pretty? Huh, this one's so pretty. Bright yellow. Then you back up and I got this really pretty colored one. I love that they self-seed themselves and I get all these pretty color variations. Now, you gorgeous. Last, but certainly not even close to least, is the crazy overgrown garden. Now, I keep picking this calendula back and it keeps coming back. It just really is really happy to be here. I'm going to keep using that and harvesting it and using it for skincare products. Right here was where the garlic was. I did pull all the garlic out and I have small watermelon vines growing in here. My thought was the watermelon vines would grow and then be able to have more room once the garlic came out, but they didn't grow enough. I don't think I'll get watermelon off of that vine. Here I have got squash, and you can kind of see right here this one. The green zucchini. It is the Polish variety. Oh, I got another one back here. There's one. That's a good one to pick. That one's growing right here in this cluster. And then over here is the yellow. You can see I got a couple of those too. I'm going to pick all those for a barbecue I'm having this weekend. And then in front are the peppers. Here are the shishitos. These are the only ones I didn't really pick when I did peppers the other day, because I'm going to use all these in my barbecue this weekend too. So I'm just letting those ones size up here. So zucchinis, peppers. Here is the onion. This is an ornamental onion, and in about a week and a half or 2 weeks, there will be 50 bees on this at all times. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. It's really, really good. Here's another yellow squash. And then we get to kind of like this mess in the middle. We're going to call it the ladder mess, I guess. This middle one right here, this smaller ladder, has spaghetti squash on it. And I have got 2 big ones right here, plus some other smaller ones starting. That's all right here in the middle. Hold on, I must mother. All right, back to it. So spaghetti squash here, giant zinnia patch in the middle, with a whole bunch of different kinds of zinnia. Actually, I'm so excited. They're huge. Look at this pretty peach one. She's gorgeous. These bigger ones here. I've got some smaller ones here. I did a whole variety of different kinds. Back in the back, those are the cactus ones. Oh, they're just lovely. And then there is a volunteer watermelon vine running through here. And I don't know if I can see one right here, but there is watermelon on here somewhere. It's running all through the zinnia and out the back. So if I do get a watermelon, it will not be because I planted one on purpose. It'll be totally accidental. Large ladder. This is the honey nut squash, and they look like this. And there are quite a few of them on here. And I'm going to do a little research. I'm not exactly sure at what stage to pick them. I'm not sure if they're going to turn yellow or if I can pick them at this green. So I'm going to do a little research on those, but that is kind of taken over here. It's kind of trying to get into the beans back there. More peppers. This is the other squash that I have over here. Oh, look how big that guy is. Do you see him? Shoot. I got to pick him. There are 2 of these back here. Yep, there's another one. I'm going to need to cook some zucchini this week. Another onion here, ornamental onion. This is the potato volunteer that came this year. I'm not exactly sure what to do with it. I'm going to probably pull it out and see what's underneath it pretty soon. It's in the way a little bit. And then here on the end, this is broccoli. This is what broccoli looks like when it goes to flower. It's going to make seeds, and I could save them if I want. And then this is all just kale and or broccoli, cabbage things going to seed that I'm going to feed to my chickens. And then right in here, this is my other bean patch. Right here, I have got yellow beans that need to be picked. And then back here, I have got dragon tongue beans that need to be picked. Yeah, I think that's a job I need to do tonight. You're gonna see, look at the bugs are attacking that cabbage, but I do have a couple cabbages. Let me show you on the way this way. Just look at this, guys. It's so magical. Hello, little bee. Welcome to my garden. Let me walk through here real quick. I had a red cabbage here. I've got a red cabbage here. Look at that guy. That's a beautiful looking cabbage. Hi, bee. Another red cabbage. So I got a little bit left to harvest in cabbages. Some zinnias over here. Ooh. So I don't know what you think, but I am pretty impressed with the August garden. And actually, I love that the garden never looks the same way twice. This garden looks nothing like what I planned. I had no plan for a giant tunnel of sunflowers. I had no plan for these guys or for the crazy black-eyed Susan up in the front or the giant, huge 40-head sunflower growing in the backyard. Garden just shows up, and every year I've got a new favorite spot. All right, if you have any questions, leave them below. Otherwise, I will see you again very soon. Have a great night.